I grew up on a farm, milking cows every morning at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. I was working for a farmer one afternoon, and I was complaining about the money that was being held from my paycheck. This FICA guy who was taking cash out. And the farmer came up behind me. I didn't even know he was standing there. And he said, "Jim," he said, "you're always going to be a slave to money until you understand it." And it struck me. It kind of irritated me, actually. It's like, well, I didn't want to be anybody's property. I didn't want to be in charge of anything. I wanted to be my own person. And so I decided that I wanted to figure out what it took. Because on a farm, you could work really, really hard and make no money. And other seasons, you could maybe not work quite so hard and make a ton of money because it was all about things that were outside of your control. So I actually started as a broker when I got out of college because I wanted to do planning. And nobody did financial planning back then. I really wanted to do planning. And this one brokerage house said, no, that's our angle, that's our shtick. We do planning for people. Well, they didn't really, but at least it was an introduction. I had a client come in, he was 85 years old. He came in to see me because his daughter Judy was a client of mine. And he said, "My daughter said I should do whatever you tell me." So I went to my manager and I said, "Hey, what do I do? How do I do this for a man who's 85? And he said, "Jim, you do it the same way you do for everybody else. You put some at high risk and some at medium risk and some at low risk." And I said, "Well, what if he doesn't need risk?" And he said, "Jim, if he didn't need risk, then he shouldn't have brought his money to you because you only get paid on money that's at risk." That was a real wake-up moment for me to realize, you know what? I don't belong in the brokerage world. So I had an opportunity to work in a bank, helping to start a planning program, and then ultimately a trust company. And the trust company is where I truly discovered my passion of the whole fiduciary concept of truly focusing a company on doing what was in your client's best interest. We had a client who came in and they said, "Jim, you know what? We're really being careful. We got a pension and we got Social Security. We need $25,000 a year on top of that just to maintain our lifestyle. Can we spend $25,000 a year?" And so we went through the whole planning process with them and came back and said, "Oh my gosh, great news. You can actually spend $60,000 a year and you won't run out of money before you die." And they said, "No, we could never do that. That's way too extravagant. We just need our 25." And I said, "No problem. It's your plan. We can do it any way you want. But I know the kids are coming into town for the holidays. How about we sit down, all of us together as a group, have the kids involved, and let's talk about what your options are." And they said, "That's wonderful. We'd love to have the kids involved." So they all came into our office, sat around the conference table, and we laid this out and said, "Okay, kids, here's the deal. Mom and Dad only think they need $25,000 a year to maintain their lifestyle, and that will work. If they do that, they will leave a pretty good sized nest egg for you guys at the end. Or they can spend $60,000 a year and perhaps not have anything left for you guys at the end." What do you think the kids said? They said, "Come on, Mom and Dad, we're great. Take the money, enjoy your life." And so Mom and Dad decided to take the extra money, decided to do things that they would have never done. They spent the money and they enjoyed it. They gave gifts to children and grandchildren, watched them spend that money. But the highlight of that story for me was a couple of Christmases ago, they had saved enough money on that extra money that they were receiving that they took the entire family, children and grandchildren, on a week-long Caribbean cruise over the Christmas holidays. Created memories for those children and grandchildren that inheriting $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000 simply wouldn't have done. And what made that more spectacular is, unfortunately, the dad passed away in May, shortly after that trip. And so the last real adventure, the last real memory that family had was that wonderful week that they spent on that cruise ship. It's the reason I do what I do. So family for me is basically what holds everything together. The reason that I do everything with my clients, the reason I feel so connected to my clients is I see them as family, just like I would my own family. And I treat them exactly the way as I would my family. I love Disney. I think this is something that most of my clients know. There's Disney stuff all around the office. I have Disney statues, and even the name of my book, Happily Ever After, I really stole from Disney. It's a place that you can go and have fun with your family. It's a place that you can go that's wholesome, where you really can spend time focusing on one another and really having those conversations that just don't happen anywhere else. And that's kind of the way I want to build this. I want clients who come in and stay with us forever. It's not uncommon, literally, for a client to stay with us from the day they do a plan until the day they die. And I love that. We know everything about their family, their children, their grandchildren. we go to their events, and it really connects us to why we're on this earth and what we have the opportunity to do, which is change people's lives, make everybody's life a better one for them. And I love that. I absolutely love that about what we do.